ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I am joined by Bubba Myron.
Hey, folks. We're recording a little bit later than usual today. I had to go into my doctor for fasting blood work. They're kind of worried I'm too sweet.
Might have your levels too high. That was good. Man, we're rolling. We're getting everything knocked out. Big week, as always. It seems like every week's become like a big week when it comes to pro wrestling. But the mailbag had started getting full again, man. So we decided we were going to do another mailbag episode. We're going to get to that shortly. But before we do, we want to make sure to remind everybody, make sure you are signing up over on our YouTube channel. You know, always you can like the page, subscribe to the page, turn your notifications on. Hell, become a member where you can get behind the paywall to get the show early and a lot of the extras, especially the writings and stuff that's going on. But hey, look, it's not just YouTube, but youtube.com. The handle is @TappedOutPod, but you can also check us out on our Patreon page as well, patreon.com, and just search Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. We're there as well. But look, man, and you can always send it, by the way, because somebody asked me the other day, like, hey, mailbag questions, tappedoutpod@gmail.com, man. It's always the place to go for the questions. People DM them and, private message them and stuff like that. And I'm like, dude, that stuff just gets pushed back the more that comes in, so it's more likely to get kind of in. Tappedoutpod@gmail.com. I just save the emails and can scroll through them, so it makes my life so much easier that way.
Oh, we've got quite a full sack today, Nick, so let's see if we can get it emptied.
That's right, man. We're going to mix it up, but I'm going to read the questions here a little bit if I can read them. Charles from Corpus Christi, Texas. We're going to start off as, who do you guys think should win the Royal Rumble?
I'm just excited the Royal Rumble so soon, Nick. What are we, about a month out?
Yeah, just about, yeah.
Oh, man.
But look, they're hyping it like crazy. You got people already declaring they're entering the Royal Rumble. And the only thing, we're going to answer the question, Charles, I promise you, but the only thing that usually kind of annoys me a little bit about the Royal Rumble is they'll have somebody like, Cody declares or Punk declares and all that kind of stuff. And 2 or 3 weeks from now, we'll have qualifying matches, like, when guys have to qualify for the Rumble. I hope we don't get that this year. I'm hoping Triple H kind of takes that and fixes that glitch. I just never understood that it didn't work for me, I guess maybe is the right word I'm looking for.
You have to have a certain level to qualify or to deliver or declare, or your status based on, who knows. Just, it's wrestling. Just do whatever you want to, folks.
Yeah, that's just always what irked me. Like, Punk and Cody can, hell, Punk just walked through the door. How can he declare? Like, who's he ever beaten?
I don't know. All I know about Punk is he is promoting his way into my heart. I couldn't stand the guy. Then all of a sudden, hell, he came on NXT and did a promo on their pay-per-view and was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree, man. But look, let's get this one first. We'll probably get there in a little bit.
Oh, I know. But I just couldn't get away from it.
Yeah. See, so I guess your odds-on favorites have to be Punk and Cody, right? You would assume.
Yeah.
Now,
Out of 30, Ben? Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, Randy apparently is going to have a little feud. It looks like he's going to be feuding with the Bloodline, so that argument could be made. But Cody's got to finish the story. Punk's got to do his story. So my obvious pick right now has to be Cody again. Because here's my argument.
I want Cody to get his story done.
Me too.
Okay. I hate to be that guy, but shit.
Well, I don't think, because here's the thing. I think Cody, for now we're going to pretend it's all real. Cody has to win, I think, to get back to a match with Roman. Like, he has to have a way to make that argument. Look, Seth is coming out on a weekly basis and confronting Punk, so I think that match can just happen on, just naturally. It could just flow. So I don't think Punk needs to win the Rumble to get a match with Seth, and that's the huge if that's where you're going to at Mania. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to need a main event of some kind or a big match for Seth at the Rumble. Think about it.
I'm saying, you're going to get that match. You can storyline evolve to him wanting to wrestle Punk at Mania.
Yeah.
Roman could make the argument, I don't need to face Cody again.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Cody needs the win. Again, we're pretending it's real, folks. Cody needs to win to justify getting another match with Roman. And I know that's whatever, but you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, you have to,
2 Manias in a row. Sorry, 2 Rumbles in a row. Yeah. Okay. I've done it. I've had to do it twice. Give him one of his daddy's promos in there. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I just think that's all I'm saying is I think Punk could push Seth's buttons enough that Seth is going to agree to a match. If the wise man, is there with Roman, he's just going to be like, dude, you have no reason to fight Cody. Like, there's none. You've already beaten him. You've already won. It's over.
Call Roman Reigns. I love that. I love that gimmick. Okay, I love it when he does that.
Currently, my pick is Cody Rhodes if I'm picking somebody.
That's the hardest match on earth to pick, though. Okay,
I agree.
Because there's always a chance something bizarre will happen too. I'm stoked for the women's Royal Rumble. I think that's going to be insane. Especially with I've been following NXT women so much, and Jesus Christ, they've got nothing but too much talent down there. Ooh,
yeah, it's a little blood. Yeah, they're deep. They're deep. They got a good future.
Yeah.
Real quick, do you have no stories and explanations? Do you have a pick? Who do you think is going to win the Rumble, the women's Rumble?
No, I don't have any idea yet.
No idea.
I hate to go against Charlotte.
Well, she's hurt Charlotte apparently. Injured. So yeah. So I mean,
then I would give it to Bayley.
I honestly thought, to be honest with you, I believe, and this is what I believe. I honestly believe they thought Jade Cargill would be ready by then, and that's where she debuts, because that'd be a hell of a place to debut at Rumble at 30. She can come in, she can get a win, she doesn't have to be super exposed, and then she doesn't even really wrestle a ton until May. Think about that. You could literally stretch her at a number 30 appearance at Rumble, win. Don't even worry about her like working again until the Rumble. She's just going to wait until Mania, and she's going to main event like Rhea Ripley.
You can hide somebody at the Rumble too, even if they enter earlier. But God, that poor Maxine Dupree or whatever her name was versus Rhea, that was did you see that?
Oh, I did. Oh yeah.
I wouldn't recommend anybody watching that one.
Yeah.
Oh, poor girl.
Well, let's keep it rolling, brother. So we got Steven from Tucson, Arizona.
Our good friend Steven. We saw you at WrestleCade again this year. It was always a pleasure, Steven. But what do you ask? Nick?
What do you guys think of Triple H changing it up a little bit and letting talents have the week of Christmas off now?
I love it. What day does Christmas fall on this year?
I have no idea. It's my fucking birthday, and I have no clue.
Oh.
It's probably a Tuesday. Who knows?
Christmas falls on Monday.
Okay.
So
yeah, so that would make sense because he's giving them the full week off prior. So they're doing that double taping this Friday for Smackdown. They're taping this and next week's Smackdown. So that would cover, that's the 22nd. So they would all be off going into Christmas. That would make sense.
How about all for a week for Christmas, financially soluble company, and great booking? What else could you ask for as a wrestler for Christmas?
I mean, look, they're in a really good place. Yeah, they are. They're in a solid place. But I just think, just from a sheer morale point, I mean, it's a totally different. I mean, think about this. Literally, it's a totally different company this year than last year.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was even bad when, look, it was just the way wrestling was. But I think, is it because Triple H, had the health scare this year? That he was out for a while, and, is he more in tune with the family? Is it just being a wrestler? Like, he paid those sacrifices for so long, being on the road and not seeing the family for Christmas, that he just understands. And then maybe just, because it's not like, here's the thing, it's other than like weekly TV, they were literally going to give up a weekend. Like one weekend of literally, think about it, they're giving up the 23rd and the 24th. And, of course, Christmas being the 25th.
Yeah.
So, now here's the thing. If that's a Monday, are they going to fucking tape Raw, too?
I don't know what they're going to do about Raw.
Anyway,
I know the SmackDown. I know the SmackDown thing.
Yeah.
I hate to use the phrase "the boys," but it seems to me that since Triple H was a wrestler, he's more in tune with the boys and what they want. And it's not like he's a union representative, but he's more of a I'm not man's. What do you know? You know what I'm trying to say. He's more one of them.
Well, he was a talent. He understands like some of the, the grievances of the talent, and he's like going to say, like, look, we can nip this in the bud, and we could do this.
Well, I mean, it's not festivals. It's not festivals for wrestlers.
Yeah,
but it seems like everybody is doing better from what I've seen. It seems like the company is firing on all cylinders. It seems like everything is in a better place.
They're hot right now. There's no doubt. But I'm glad, like, even though they're hot, I really like the fact, even like cutting back on house shows potentially, this type of stuff for the holidays. I think it's really cool to take care of the talent.
Yeah.
So they it's happy. It's a good happy morale booster.
Yeah.
So for sure. Alrighty, next one up. Keith from Greensboro, North Carolina. It says, Nick, do you still stand behind your comments that CM Punk is overrated? 100%. I will not change my. And here's the thing. He's not as overrated as Scott Mason.
Nobody is, though.
Nobody is. However, did you ever think we'd have a sentence where Scott Mason and CM Punk were in the same sentence?
When I first met Scott Mason, I thought he was overrated, but I didn't think he was CM Punk level overrated till recently.
Look, they got me with the comment of doesn't somebody have to say something good about you to be overrated? So anyway. So my comments about CM Punk. Sorry. Look, it's love. Nothing but love. He knows. And we're not talking about Punk. Look, I understand CM Punk is on fire. He is 100%.
Much more fire than Scott Mason.
I don't know. He's on fire right now, dude. If he made Mason's list, he's hot right now. So give him
the other Mason. The Mason Andrews is actually on fire and not overrated.
No. So anyway, look, I know. Punk was on. He was on Raw. He was on Smackdown. He was on the NXT Deadline. Everywhere he was doing the recruitment tour.
Yeah.
And everybody was making a pitch. Adam Pearce, Nick Aldis. Look, Shawn Michaels just kind of was like, hey, you want to come work for NXT?
The Shawn Michaels bit was priceless. God, I enjoyed that.
Awkward. You could tell they were kind of like, it wasn't really super scripted, and they kind of, I don't mean, it wasn't bad, but I felt like they fumbled through it, but it, like, two really good promos fumbling through it, so it was actually okay. But look, the whole, I understand, look, oh my God, Raw did a 1-8, whatever it was for his debut on Raw. SmackDown, NXT probably did great numbers because it's on Peacock. It's hard to know. But the second week, look, I've always said this about wrestling in general. Is he hot? Yes. Has he sold a ton of merch? Yes. I've never said he's not good.
One Bill. One Bill. That's his new nickname. One Bill Phil. Because when they go to negotiate that TV deal, is he that big a deal, Nick? Is he the AEW executive that named him One Bill Phil, that he's going to be worth $1 billion in a TV deal? Just alone. CM Punk.
Listen,
One Bill Phil.
He is an A player. I've never said he's not, but he's not the greatest wrestler. Blah, blah, blah. He's not.
Is that why they held off on signing a TV deal? Is that one of the reasons?
No.
They wanted to get CM Punk signed on the roster and on Raw before they started really actively pursuing a TV deal.
No. Stop believing the sheets. That's not even true. That's not.
I'm writing these sheets now, Nick.
All right.
This is a vocal.
I thought you were doing something else in the sheets, but I mean, I'm saying, God, we should. That's where the Blue Truth sponsorship should have been right there.
I can't think those things.
I know Myron will stroke out. Literally.
Well, I mean, I can't stroke out for stroking out.
So anyway. So
that's
look,
horrible.
As great as Punk is, I'm going to take the exact same stance that I took in AEW when he got there. Let's see where he's at in 6 months. Listen, here's the thing though. There's a major difference. There's a major difference between, and look, we said it before. We had that when we were talking about could he come over, could he show up in WWE? Yeah, it's funny. Everybody, okay, by the way, everybody's saying that, Seth Rollins' promo was basically copied and pasted Hangman Page's. Okay, were they similar? Yeah, because guess what? It's the freaking truth about CM Punk. And you want me to book what I think is going to happen?
What's that?
I've been watching this and I've been
Fantasy
thinking,
book, Nick. Fantasy book.
Yeah. How about, okay, I was literally having a conversation like an hour ago with somebody about this. And I said, Seth's going to come out there. Seth looks like the heel because he's the one who doesn't trust everybody's favorite, Seth, CM Punk. And so he looks like the asshole. And he's telling everybody, he's telling Punk, this is not your home. This is my home. You tried to tear this place down. You tried to tear down the people that were here, blah, blah, blah. So they're going to go into this feud. And I think eventually what happens, here's the big if Roman is leaving, like everybody leads to believe, and Seth and CM Punk have their match at Mania, I believe Punk, because then you get past the goodwill love fest of Punk being back. He's going to turn heel, join Paul Heyman, and Seth gets to then turn out to be the babyface and go, I told y'all and you didn't listen. I told you he couldn't be trusted. Because I think you got to get... Triple H is smart enough to know that babyfaces or people get a babyface reaction when they return. You just got to get through that window, then you can turn somebody. And I think that's where eventually, I think Punk is a better heel, than a babyface. And I think he can turn, and we end up with a babyface Rollins versus, the heel CM Punk. So
I hate fantasy booking. I hate fantasy booking, but that's the best one I've heard so far. Because
by the way, I have an addendum.
What's that?
CM Punk needs to wrestle as little as possible.
Yes. Well, he's not wrestled yet, Nick. He's not wrestled a single match.
I don't want to see him in a ring until Rumble.
No. At
the earliest.
No.
And everybody's like, why? And I'm like, listen, by the way, it's not his fault. And I don't mean this as a negative. He is not the wrestler he once was. He's older, and he's just not the same wrestler, and that happens with most guys. I'm not even shitting on him for it. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking old, and there's shit I can't do that I used to could do 10 years. I have no clue, but if you look at him, he looks old.
Well, I told my doctor today, I said, I'm 51 years old, but I want to feel like I'm 31 years old, so give me some of them shots. I want some of that juice. Give the man some of the juice. I want to feel like that. Let him have a couple of fisticuffs. Let him go in there and have a couple of pull-aparts. He doesn't have to look that great. He doesn't have to go in there and work on a submission hold before the big show, before Mania or anything like that. Just let him have a little bit so we just get that tease. And then when he has to go out there perform, we can perform. But we ain't got to work him every Friday night or every Monday night and beat him about like we do some of these other guys. Just save him for the big stuff. And the thing is, the difference between him and the Adam Page promo is we're probably going to get a payoff on this. And when we do get a payoff, it's going to be handled better. And if we don't get a payoff, WWE's got a find out, what is it called, and find out clause in his contract, right?
Yeah, I'm sure
if he fucks around, he's going to find out.
Look, that's never going to happen there. There's too much leadership. There's too much structure. I think there's just too many people in the back he respects that he's not going to do it. And part of his, welcome home tour at NXT, apparently he was down there trying to, work with some of the kids at NXT in the Performance Center. They were asking questions. They were listening. And I think CM Punk just wants to feel special. Appreciated, maybe is a better word, but special. And I think that's, yeah.
You want to feel like a mentor.
I really have, there's a whole, maybe next week we'll discuss, there's some thoughts on, AEW losing Cody, losing Punk, losing QT, losing Kevin Sullivan, losing, all these people they've slowly talked down. And what that, by the way, because I actually think that's bad, but I could also spin it to the positive. There is a possible positive, but I think Cody and Punk being elevated to the top level. By the way, there's part 2 of do I change my opinion? No, because I had more faith that WWE would. If you'd asked us 2 years ago, AEW, I would have had more faith and they would have known what to do with CM Punk. Today, I'm telling you, it ain't close. I think WWE knows exactly what to do. because Triple H has his shit together. So that's my take. So I'm not backing down on by this thing because the overrated comment, I never said he wasn't good. So I just wanted to make sure that, Keith understands. I never said he wasn't good. I just think he's overrated, and I still stand behind that comment. So,
but he's killing it on these promos, man. I never thought I'd like the guy, but the promos have been amazing.
I can give credit where credit's due, dude. He's like, look, the Raw one wasn't great. The first one, it was okay. The Smackdown one was way better. The NXT one wasn't really the promo, and then the one that him and Seth just had. By the way, I meant the first Raw promo that I didn't think was but the one this week was pretty good. So anyway. But look, I mean, I'm just saying across the board, Myron, if I was a betting man, I think he's going to be okay in WWE. And if I was also a betting man, every week, by the way, because listen, this week, my fantasy team, I've earned a bye in the playoffs. I don't have a fantasy, game this weekend, which means I get to hit just all in, nothing but bets with our friends at Prize Picks.
You still working on this?
It's 2 minutes to kickoff. Who do I pick?
2 words, Prize Picks. It's so easy. Prize Picks is daily fantasy sports made easy. It's just you against the numbers. Simply pick the over-under on 2 or more players, and that's it. You can win up to 10 times your money in just one day. Join over 150,000 people who found a better way to play. Download the Prize Picks app today and get your first deposit match up to $100.
That's right, man. Make sure you're checking our friends out over at Prize Picks. Look, it's a whole lot easier. You're not betting on games. It's just literally prop bets on, touchdowns and receiving yards and all that good stuff. You can make it real simple and win some big money super, super easy. But look,
now,
let's keep it.
Who's that delightful spokesmodel they have there?
I have no idea.
Because, I mean, after Diana Michelle, she's probably the second best spokesmodel I know of. Maybe if Diana isn't available, we should get her to cut some promos for us.
There you go. Prize Picks. There you go. Bradley from Chicago is a little longer question. I was so looking forward to the Edge versus Christian match on Dynamite and assumed lots of people were. So I was surprised. And were you surprised by Dynamite relatively being flat in the ratings with it scheduled as the main event? No. No, actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was a hair surprised by it. It was relatively flat. They were down like 25,000 viewers, dude. And what do we always say, Myron? That's a rounding error. That's nothing.
I'm beginning to wonder if wrestling ratings are just kind of frozen. If they're not just going to hover at a certain point, and there's 100,000. I mean, if it's not less than 100 to 200,000 variants, that it doesn't matter. Like you said, 225,000 is a rounding error.
It could be, yeah.
It's 250,000.
No,
anything less than that. Anything less than that.
No, it's percentages. It's percentages. So, like, if we were talking 20 million homes and the number was like 200,000 week to week, like, it's not one of those like, oh my god. But like, if you're talking like they normally get, 850. And they drew 825, it's like, okay, whatever, that's flat. But now if they were at like 750, like a whole 100,000, you'd be like, oh shit, because the percentage is a bigger one. You'd be a little more concerned by it. Look, we're not freaking out this week. Look, so the Raw this week, a couple days ago from recording, was like 1.4 something million. Well, the Raw before that was like 1.5 something, and the one before that was when Punk debuted or whatever, is 1.8.
Yeah.
So were we completely freaking out? You know what I mean? I'm like,
are they running against Monday Night Football?
Yeah.
What was AEW running against? Professional sports are always going to be an issue. Run against wrestling. We're comparing it to too many apples and oranges.
Myron, Monday, Raw, 2 Monday Night Football games. One on ABC, one on ESPN, and for the first time ever, the Manning cast covered 2 games at one time. By the way, that's the version that I watched because I love that. I love watching the Manning cast. And it was like 20 million people like combined across the 3 channels watched, Monday Night Football. Like shocking, the ratings in wrestling were down a little bit. But anyway,
you didn't even watch the wrestling live. You watched it.
I watched, as crazy it sounds, I bounced back and forth. The only thing I watched live, and the only thing I watched on Monday Night Raw live was the Seth and Punk promo. Everything else I watched later.
Because see, I watched NXT Deliverance, or was that the name of it? That wasn't the name of it.
Deadline. But
Deadline, sorry. Squeal! Sorry.
Yeah.
But I watched Deadline during Raw. And when Raw went off, I watched Raw because I can watch Raw in less than 2 hours. The way I watch it on the DVR.
Yeah.
It's not even a DVR, it's my computer on YouTube TV. So I don't exactly watch it live myself. So it's kind of, I mean, is it the +1? Am I a +1? Is that what it's called?
If you're watching it the next day, yes, you're +1. But if you're watching it the same, yeah, you're just watching it.
Well, I mean, it goes off at 11 o'clock, so part of it's...
I think if you're watching, I don't know. If you're watching it, I think like the same day, maybe. I don't know. Hell, who the hell
sits through a 3-hour program?
I have recently. I have. The fucked up part is that 1.8 million they got on the Punk debut. Yeah, your boy sat there for 3 hours because I was waiting.
We watched
to watch somebody he calls overrated.
We watched NXT the other night live with a family because we were doing Christmas stuff and it was just on television between episodes of Law and Order. SVU, Law and Order. Dun, dun, dun. How the hell is that on all the time, Nick? Like multiple
cheap
channels.
Syndication rights.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I love Olivia Benson, but for fuck's sake, that show's long.
By the way, it'll be back in January, from my understanding, like January the 15th or whatever that week is, something like that. So we watched that live. Or we watched that not live, but you know what I'm saying, the current seasons as well. Anyway, we digress. Let's go back. So I've said one of our hottest little clips from last week was me saying that story matters and it's not about wrestling and da da da. So here's the concern that I had. This is what this question makes me wonder. Edge and Christian, in my opinion, have now become the best story in AEW.
Yeah.
I think it has surpassed the MJF Devil thing, because the Devil thing's gone too long at this point. It's run its course and then some. Because here's my thing. I think it was supposed to be Adam Cole. Maybe they wanted it to be CM Punk. Okay, A, that didn't, so that clearly wasn't going to happen. B, I think they wanted it to be Adam Cole. He got hurt. So here's the loophole I'm going to ask you. If Adam Cole turns out to be the Devil, my argument's going to be, are they going to say he was never hurt and it was all a work and that's how he's been running around with the mask on? Or if he was, they're going to acknowledge that he was hurt and that's why he was gone, then how were you running around in the Devil mask?
Are there multiple devils? I thought there were multiple devils.
There's multiple. There's henchmen with the devil. So, anyway. So, Christian and Edge, Adam Copeland and Christian have completely surpassed, in my opinion, the storytelling of that, and now it's the number one thing. So, they roll out there, and by the way, had a really good match. And if you're sitting there and you're puzzled, we record Wednesday during the day. We always have to repeat this, so we're talking about what happened on Dynamite last week. If you're listening into it, not a Patreon member, they're listening to it in time. They'll have heard it before Dynamite airs. So for it to not really draw and bump the numbers at all, that makes me ask two questions. Did I think it was too much? Did I think more of the story than it was? No, I don't think so. I'm going to answer that question on my own. But number two is there a diehard AEW base that doesn't care about story? They do want just the matches. They ain't going to grow. And have they salted it with their style enough? Have they made the crowd salty enough that they've not, even the ones who care about it, it's going to take more than just that one match to get them back?
I mean, the main reason I don't watch a lot of AEW is because I couldn't follow the storylines, or the storylines were inconsequential. I'm a storyline guy. My main reason for watching Georgia wrestling is for the storylines. Georgia wrestling, in my opinion, has the best storylines of any other wrestling product we watch. And that means Southern Honor, Southern Fried, Anarchy, all of the other promotions in Georgia do a wonderful job with storylines. I enjoy that more than anything.
So And here I pushed back to somebody and I said something that I was like, I can prove my point. They said, no, wrestling matches matter. And, the storylines are not the most important thing. And I'm like, I would say on a given week, there's about a 900,000 to 1 million viewership different that says otherwise. 800,000 watch 850, whatever you want to call it, watching Dynamite. 1,000,008 1 week, 1,000,004. So it's between 600 and 900,000 casual people that prefer story that are just not watching AEW, that are watching WWE. Because it's sports entertainment. Say what you want, like it's not my wrestling. WWE sucks and okay. It doesn't. If you want to grow, there's a part of me that goes, it's okay to be the starving artist. Just realize you're going to be the starving artist.
Yeah.
I just say that.
Well, my daughter's a music major because she loves music and arts and stuff, or she's an art major because she loves music and art. I was a science major because I love money, but I really like music and art a lot. But you have to understand, sometimes you have to put stuff you want behind you. If we really look at wrestling from our childhood, Nick, it was a lot more entertainment than sports.
Oh, way more.
Okay. So when you say sports entertainment, don't get offended. It's not effective.
I shared something on social media last week where I said, didn't back in the day the wrestlers, and that was in quotes, like the wrestlers have to talk people into the seats? Like they didn't care. Like
yes.
they wanted a good fight. They didn't care about the moves, but the money was you had to talk them into getting invested into coming to see the show.
Yes.
So look, I think they can get there. But that was about as long-winded an answer as I could tell you, Bradley. Yeah. I was a little surprised that, I thought they would be in the 900,000. I thought they would get a little bit of a boom, maybe even 1 million, because, but that's the concerning thing that it does tell me. And I don't think I'm going to make sure I don't have any. Okay. None of this question's not going to come up later. What would scare me as a talent would now be if Adam Copeland, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, Chris Jericho, et cetera, who we all think are amazing talents. If none of them and their arrival in the company consistently pushed you over 1 million viewers, if you're in WWE and you're thinking about going to AEW, I can tell you, look, I can give you reasons why you might want to go. But my argument would be, come to the realization, you're not better than any of those names I just gave you. You're not bigger and more important. There are some guys, yes, that could be the case. But anybody that WWE is pretty much willing to let go over there, you're not going to be the difference maker that they want either.
Well, I mean, they're not going to let Roman
might want to
Reigns
consider.
Go. I mean, they're not going to let Roman Reigns go. And I mean, AEW fans are like, not Roman Reigns. He doesn't ever wrestle. I don't get Roman Reigns. And you look what Triple H was doing. You saw him sending Liv Morgan over there to get MJF. You saw that. That's how they work there in the big leagues, folks.
They sent John Cena to get.
They sent John Cena and Liv Morgan. None of that Alicia Toot. I know what Jay-Z said. But Jay-Z wouldn't. I believe Jay-Z wouldn't say that about Liv Morgan. If you smell what I'm cooking.
Yeah. Anywho, like I said, long-winded question. Let's keep it moving, Myron.
Now kick it in.
David from Chesapeake, Virginia says, "What do you guys think of TNA partnering with Endeavor for streaming, and could it lead to them working with WWE?"
Hold your horses, people.
Yeah.
Hold your horses.
This might have been the most exaggerated overreaction piece of news last week, I think, that came out.
I studied on this. Heavily. I read every article I could. I read about it. Endeavor has what? UFC Fight Pass and all that. Endeavor is a streaming platform. Endeavor knows they own the WE now, and they own the MMA people now. But they also they don't own WE streaming because that's owned by NBC and Peacock.
Well, no, they actually the answer is technically they do own the streaming of WWE. Yes. Peacock leases
Peacock
they have a
leases.
TV contract. Yeah.
Now, when that contract's out, there's a chance they could market it both together with the MMA Fight Pass. But the thing is, you're talking about a service that knows how to stream, promote, has the infrastructure ready to go to help you get your wrestling pay-per-view service on the air. It's like Netflix for wrestling.
Yeah, I think where the overreaction occurred is people don't like Endeavor owns a lot of stuff. Like, if you ever, I always tell people, like, go to the grocery store and they look at the shelf and they're like, oh, there's Campbell's soup and then there's this and then there's this. And I'm like, you do realize, like, there's one company at the top that actually owns, like, all
it's like
these
General
companies.
Mills. You know, they're the General Mills of streaming services, really.
Well, they just have, they have this streaming service, but they also own TKO, which owns the UFC. They also own, like, agencies for actors and, so they own all these different things. At some point, and this happens more often than you would think, competitors, in air quotes, sometimes end up, like, under an umbrella of having mutual partnerships with, like, the top at the food chain. That's all it was. Now, however, I know you're an Impact. You like you could get this thing for $95.99 a year or $9.99 a month, but for $219.99 a year, I think they include the big pay-per-views that they do as year. So, but my thing is, look, even though I don't think there's ever going to be a partnership in what the people are thinking. But it's not like they haven't worked together before. Remember? I mean, Mickey James was at the Rumble. They've done, like, content share for, like, stuff like for AJ Styles DVDs, which they don't even do anymore, or for streaming, but it'll be on Peacock. So I think Triple H is two things. I think what the people don't get the thing I am really excited about the Punk thing. I think it shows Triple H's, he did learn the willingness of saying, this shit's not personal. Like, it's his business, and we're still going to work with people, and it is what it is. And I think that's potentially what we're looking at. If this isn't going to be a signal that they could be working together, because I think essentially they've already done it, and I don't think there was ever anything stopping it.
It's a very simple thing, folks. Does this help anything? Who knows? But do it hurt? But do it hurt? And the answer is no. Mm-mm. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt anything. It may not ever help anything at all for Impact and the WWE, but it sure as hell doesn't hurt anything.
I think it helps them just get on a better platform as far as streaming out their stuff. I mean, so. By the way, off subject, streaming. I think today's the day we're recording on Wednesday. I think today Fight officially flips to Triller. I think they changed the name today and everything, which means nothing to a lot of people, but that means all of the Fight content and Triller content are kind of going to be under one umbrella. So anyway,
well, I've never done anything on Triller. I've done stuff on Fight before.
It's like bare knuckle, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be under one
I don't
umbrella.
like that. I just like that.
Marco, speaking of wrestling, Marco from Stockton, California. Is Ring of Honor dead? That is probably one of the shortest questions we've ever had. No, it is not dead. But it is on life support, in my opinion.
It is being honored. It is being offered as part of a package deal.
It's probably been zapped a couple times. And a lot of people, I have to walk a very fine line here when I talk about Ring of Honor, and I'll tell you why. There's a bunch of people there that wrestle there that we know, that we love, and we think they're super talented.
And it's probably one of the greatest histories and the greatest tape libraries and one of the greatest all-time talent rosters in all of wrestling.
It could be like, but the thing is, it belongs on a way back when machine.
Yes.
It's like everybody started there. So that's what the running joke is, right?
It's like the Library of Congress of wrestling tape libraries.
I mean, like, they have the show coming up. It's this weekend, the 15th, I believe, in Garland, Texas. They've got the big pay-per-view. We mentioned this last week. Like, I looked on December 8th, and I'm fully aware that was a couple days ago. I haven't looked since. But they broke 1,000 tickets. They're at 1,056. That is per WrestleTix, by the way, the Twitter account. Here's the knock on it right now, in my opinion. They're on Honor Club, so they're not on, any TV or whatever. By the way, slow down. I'm gonna follow it up with what I'm about to say. I was gonna say, are they even any better than NWA at this point? Like, I know NWA is on the CW app now. I get that. But it's like, to me, if you're crapping on NWA, yeah, you got to probably throw Ring of Honor in there too, because to me they're super close. I think the issue at hand is because they don't have the exposure. Look, I can't beat enough to say it should be the Rampage show. Hell, at this point, it should be the Collision show. One of the two. Just build that product up, for crying out loud.
Yeah, well, if you're going to waste that airtime on something that nobody's watching, if you could repackage it and remarket it as Ring of Honor, a name that's got jingle to it, a name that wrestling fans will recognize.
Right.
Do something besides Rampage.
Rampage is a diluted fifth hour of wrestling.
Yes, and it's not necessary. Put Ring of Honor on there. There's some great young talent left. Look at the damn infantry. We saw those guys last Friday night. Holy shit, those guys were amazing.
Yeah.
Carly Bravo. Sean Dean looks amazing. And I told him, I was looking at you $1 million, man. You look terrific. Those guys look amazing. They work amazing. There's no reason they shouldn't be on TV on a regular basis.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is I think it damages the product to the point. Like, look, you have added you sold 1,000 tickets, 1,056 as of December 8th on WrestleTix. Disclaimer thrown in there. You've thrown a little over 1,000 tickets. And on that card, FTR and Mark Briscoe are wrestling the Blackpool Combat Club. And you can barely break 1,000 tickets for those. Like, John Moxley. Look, I get it. This is your Daniel Bryan and John Moxley are your two of your top names, and FTR top names. And I wanted to ask your take on this. Eric Bischoff brought up brought up a point that is very valid. You think having Brian Danielson, I'll get it right at some point, is adding value to Ring of Honor. Eric Bischoff says, no, you're diluting Bryan Danielson's stigma, his reputation. You are dragging him down. He's like, you are literally making Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, FTR look like independent wrestlers on Ring of Honor. That's what you're doing.
Well, if you're putting them on a show where they're only selling 1,000 tickets, they'd look like crap. It's like imagine if you were to take Daniel Bryan and you were to have him show up at an indie show where they're drawing 150 people.
Did you see that clip, by the way? Sidebar, Alberto Del Rio wrestled in a high school gym at an indie show, and the crowd was like bad.
Well,
anyway, Alberto Del Rio, right.
Sorry,
anyway.
But that's the same concept. Yeah. If you do that enough, your booking rate's going to go down, and then people are going to you look up.
Bischoff literally called Ring of Honor a parasite on AEW.
Well, and then when Tony Khan goes and tries to use it as fries when he's trying to sell you a Happy Meal or a cheeseburger, Tony Khan is actually going to people CW. He went to the CW trying to pitch the Ring of Honor. Who already has NXT. He goes to WB and says, "Hey, buy my AEW, and I'll throw in a free Ring of Honor." He does this, and that's not helping Ring of Honor. It's not helping AEW, because then they look at it like, well, God, I mean, Daniel Bryan can't even sell 1,000 tickets. Why would we want this product?
Bischoff's take was take all of the funds that you're allocating for Ring of Honor and put it into what you're doing best, whatever that may be. But it's where you're getting your return of investment, more into the Dynamite. Because he basically crapped on Collision and Rampage and goes they're both failed projects at this point. Anybody can tell you they're not, but they are. They're failed projects at this point. And it's so why don't you just focus back where your numbers are in Dynamite, focus there. But I would. I'm with you. I think Friday turn Rampage into Ring of Honor. I don't know how long we have to say that before people understand that that's what I think they should do. But yeah.
But is Ring of Honor better or off or worse than since Tony bought them?
It's tough to say because you remember when they were kind of done. That was the problem. I think they were done, and he bought it out of, they were essentially done running. So, but are you just basically, this is where my point was, are you NWAing it? I mean, Billy Corgan bought a dead NWA, and he's just like, terrible analogy. Loretta Lynn, before she passed, God bless her. Like, look, my wife's family absolutely love Loretta, and I do too.
Well, nobody should not.
By the end, her family was still rolling her out there and sitting her in a chair. Like, literally, they were having to help her out to her chair, putting her on a chair to put on a concert. And she literally would sit there and she would sing for the entire time. Somebody would come out and get her, and they would walk her back off stage. I'm like, are you literally doing this to the ring of, like, are you helping the person that's like, look, we shouldn't, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Well, yes, 100%. And see, here's the problem with AEW, in my opinion. AEW takes people right out of the indies and throws them on their main television show. They don't have an NXT. They use that. Have an NXT. I think Ring of Honor should be their NXT.
I think it is. That's the thing. I think that's what he's trying to accomplish. But the problem is there's I don't know. Honestly, there's a lot that just baffles me.
AEW
Maybe there's a reason people are leaving.
AEW is a popularity contest, and WWE is a business, and there's where your entire problem lies.
Well, I mean, anyway, there's a great debate about revenue. There's something I wanted to have that conversation. They're reporting, Meltzer's claiming, AEW gross revenue was 175 million this year. And I'm like, okay, I want to see those. I believe those numbers. I do. It's fine. But, and Bischoff and Conrad had a little back and forth about it this week because, he's like, well, that's more money than WCW made. And he was like, yeah, we also weren't getting $45 million for TV rights. If you take that out, what are they really making? Because that's apples to apples more than, and he's like, oh, yeah, I guess I didn't think about it. So if and then he was like, an account for inflation as well.
They're losing like $34 million a year is what I've read. And
no idea. The problem is you can't prove it. There's no number that nobody.
No, it's not a publicly traded corporation. It's just some guy. It's some guy. It's like my wallet. Yeah. I'm not going to let everybody see what's going on in my wallet.
No, not in the least. Not in the least. So, but kudos to them. Who knows how long he's got, but anyway, but let's keep it rolling, brother. Before we talk about anything indie, let's talk about one of our favorite segments every single week, Pro Wrestling Tees. By the way, this is going to be one of the first times we've ever repeated a wrestler. Yeah, we're actually going to but it's a new shirt that we really enjoy and love. So that's why we're going to show it. And that, of course, is your friend, Hollywood Hunter James. Cool new shirt he's got there. One of our favorite things we like about the shirt, it's not black. And
it's not black?
It's not black, and it's available in multiple colors. I think you can get it in black, but I picked the one that's not black for a reason. I want to see you, Myron, in this pink shirt.
I'm going to buy the pink shirt. I'm going to buy the pink shirt with Tristan on the back like that. You can get Pro Wrestling Tees gift certificates. The best Christmas present you can get. Get all your friends. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com. Get yourself gift certificates. Get your friends gift certificates. Put them in the stockings. Get this T-shirt. Get our T-shirt. I'm getting the pink one. I might get the blue one too, the aqua blue.
I think there's an aqua blue one as well.
I'm going to get a couple of more Pro Wrestling T-shirts. Look at that. Wearing their merchandise right there. The red shirt, my wife has stolen all my Pro Wrestling Tees red shirts. Get those, softest T-shirts ever, and get some of our logo merch. The best
agree,
logo
100%.
merch in the business.
And look, while we're plugging, supporters of the show before we get into the indie section, make sure you are supporting the show because that's kind of how we keep doing our thing, man. jmartinandcompany.com, pressure washing, window cleaning. I actually ran into Jamie Martin at Southern Honor, talked to him for a while. Look, and I told him, look, we love him as a sponsor of the show. Pressure washing, window cleaning, gutter cleaning, all that crazy stuff. We actually discussed, hey, he's about to come out, and because the fall happened. Gutters are full. Going to come out and clean the gutters again.
He let me count his teeth. The animated guy actually has more teeth than he does.
Well, yeah.
I counted them.
But you did tell him how sexy he was in person, though, that you had to
He's
correct
hairier,
it.
much hairier than the guy in the picture.
But anyway, check out our friends over at jmartinandcompany.com or check them out on Facebook and send them a message. Hook them up for all your pressure washing, window cleaning, house cleaning, gutter cleaning. Not just, by the way, not just residential, commercial as well. I know they've got a bunch of contracts with bigger companies and, developers.
I had him
and all that
pressure
kind of
wash my first wife before Christmas this year.
Yeah, that didn't clean up well at all. Anywho, Myron, let's get the last question in before we get going. Is Matt from Jersey City, New Jersey. I hear you guys mention Krule often on the show. What are your thoughts on him in 2024? Well, here's the thing. There's this conversation, and when we, here in this state, they're always talking about like who's the best wrestler, in the state of Georgia and all that kind of stuff. And then I said something to somebody the other day, and they're like, "What?" Look, I made my case who I thought it was this year. I'm not getting in that conversation today. What I'm telling, they're like, "Hey, man, you didn't mention Krule," and I'm like, "Could you want to know why?"
Oh boy,
Krule's not a Georgia wrestler.
Why. He's not.
Krule's not a Georgia wrestler, in my opinion. Krule's bigger than the state of Georgia now. By the way, I sense major things. I think Krule's not only the real IWTV champion. I make a prediction. He wins an even bigger title next year. I think he will. I think you're going to see him so national next year. Like, I think it's literally going to be like, if you live in Georgia and you want to see Krule, go see him soon, because I think of pretty soon he's going to be just all over the road, and I just think the opportunities are going to be bigger than anything he gets in Georgia, in my opinion.
Are you going to tell me that the only way I'll be able to see Krule in the future will be on television and internet?
I'm carefully pausing. Yes,
because I've seen some new Krule action figures.
Oh, those were the MLW ones that they had made. I think that's the same ones. I don't know. I think they're probably just getting restocked or something and getting shipped out. So, but get your Krule figures. Yes, actually.
Your Krule spices. I put that on all of my macaroni and cheese. I put that on my eggs. Anything that needs spices. You put them on your steaks.
I do.
You cook in bulk.
Yes, I do. So my take is, I also, like I said, I think Krule next year officially outgrows Georgia next year. I think he will be, and I mean, somebody was like, well, you think he's going to be like Matt Cardona? I'm like, well, I like the character better. Sorry. So I think that's kind of the level we're talking about. I think you're going to see him like multiple streaming services probably. I think he's going to be champions in multiple places. Like I said, I think he outgrows Georgia next year. I just don't foresee him as a, because somebody was like, oh, well, would you, if you had a promotion in Georgia, would you put a title on him? Fuck no, I wouldn't put a title on him, because he's not going to be here. He's going to be in such demand. He's going to be on the road. I'm like, why would I put a title on him if the guy's not going to be able to make shows because he's going to be out of town for bigger shows? I mean, Krule's going to be bigger than the state of Georgia. That's my point, and I'm sticking to it.
See, Nick gets all his insider information and doesn't tell me till the shows because he knows I like surprises. Holy shit.
So,
and I believe all this. I believe this because I don't think it could happen to a more fitting candidate.
It's a fucking monster. Yeah. I've been banging that drum for over a year now, and I'm standing by it. Had he not gotten injured, he wouldn't have been here at all, in my opinion, in 2023. The state of Georgia got lucky. He didn't, but the state of Georgia got lucky that he was injured, and it wrapped into 2023, because otherwise he'd have been gone by now. So keep that. Anyway, that's my take. Myron, one more question. Nick from Buford wants to know, anything else, Myron, before we get out of here?
Boy. Well, what do we got to talk about this weekend? Hey, folks, what do you want to talk about? Well, Nick, what do you want to talk about? Well, have you seen the plans for this weekend? What are we going to do this weekend, Nick?
Dude, I'm jam-packed. I've got grandkids on Friday. We're going to go look at Christmas lights. We're going to drive around and look at Christmas lights. Saturday, my wife's got I will not make the show you're probably thinking about. I have to go to a Christmas party on Saturday night, but we will be at a show on Sunday.
You're not going to make seasons meetings?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
I got to go to my wife.
no.
My wife's work. Look, I told y'all going into December, dude, I knew this was going to happen. And it's like, my wife's Christmas party is coming up on Saturday. So I got to go to that. Look, my work party's the same exact night. So I wasn't going regardless, but I'm like, I've ended up choosing.
Here's to be unemployed. No Christmas parties, and my wife works from home. So I'm going to seasons meetings on Saturday night. Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, 405 Community Court. Guys, this card looks amazing. Check it out. I'll be reposted on Facebook. You got to come out and check this out. It looks dynamite.
Yep. So that's where you're going to be Saturday.
I'll be there Saturday. Sunday,
I am going Sunday, 6 p.m.
Yes, this is going to be neat. They're bringing professional wrestling to Swanee, Georgia, right down the road from my house. Lived in Swanee for a long time, moved to Sugar Hill right next to it about 12 years ago. I'm 3 miles from this place? How amazing is that to have professional wrestling just down the street from my house? Southern States Pro, back from a long hiatus, comes to Monkey Wrench Brewing, 6 o'clock on Sunday. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's the mains, Chip Day and Bryce Cannon head to head. That'll be worth the price of admission alone. Yeah. But yeah, looking forward to that. It'll be our first Southern States, shot that we get to make, because they typically run on the other side of Atlanta. So yeah,
I see me some sunny days on this poster. Indie wrestling in Georgia is strong. I hope indie wrestling wherever you live is strong. And the main way to make indie wrestling strong where you live is to go. If you see posters, go. Drive a little bit, go. Buy a ticket, buy a shirt, buy a hot dog, cheer for people.
But look, hey, Myron, if they can't go, if they can't make it, and they hear stuff we're excited about matches, there are some. Look, don't forget, I'm actually uploading matches to our YouTube channel on youtube.com, Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, at Tapped Out Pod's the handle. I am exclusively putting some matches up. I do have talent sending me matches. I told some more. I've got another one. I'm actually going to load it up tomorrow that somebody sent me recently. It's a women's match, and I'm going to upload that and put that up this week as well. But make sure you are liking the page, subscribing to the page, turn your notification on, all that good stuff. That way, when I upload these, it's there. You'll catch it right there on the YouTube channel, Patreon as well. But we also fully are aware, we have people that are, just podcast listeners. The only thing we put on that feed is just the weekly show for now. I've contemplated doing some shorts and uploading them as well, like little short episodes of stuff, whether it be football or whatever kind of stuff. I had a great rant this week, as you can probably imagine, about that Kansas City Chiefs stuff I wanted to do. But look, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Amazon Music, all those good places. Make sure you're subscribing to us. Leave us a 5-star rating and review, because we, that's the best way to support the show, man, and support the advertisers as well. Just like our friends over at Libsyn, Libsyn.com. If you want to do a podcast and you want to do it like we were just talking about, look, Libsyn sends it all out to you, to those places for you. Makes it super easy.
So easy.
Libsyn.com. Sign up today using promo code TAPP. Get up to 2 months for free when you sign up, and support us, through them. Again, promo code TAPPED at Libsyn.com. That's everything I've got this week, Myron. You got anything else before we get out of here?
Have you done all your Christmas shopping yet, Nick?
No, I don't do that.
I've been doing mine online. Melissa's been using the Amazon account. I can't look at it because she's been ordering my stuff. I hate stuff like that. I didn't need to be able to check packages all the time. What'd you ask for?
I've asked people not to buy me anything this year.
Oh God, that guy. Jesus.
I'm that guy. No, seriously, I tell people all the time, do not buy me anything, because I promise you, I specifically told a family member yesterday that said, "Hey, what do you want for Christmas?" And I said, nothing, and I'm going to tell you why. It's a good thing why I'm telling you why. I just promise you, if you look behind me and around my office, I was like, I promise you, there's absolutely nothing that I want that you would be willing to spend that much money on that I don't have.
That's the curse of being 50, isn't it? Or you're 49 still.
I said, look, there's just no point. I think how about this? Why don't we all just go out to dinner?
Yes.
Why don't, instead of like buying me something that in 2 months is going to be in a storage box or something like that, I promise you, because you're going to buy me something comic book related that I don't collect,
or you don't want,
or my grandkids are going to end up with it.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So that I am that guy. But
I'm too cranky, and you're not going to be able to do it right. Let's just be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to be a nuisance, and I'm going to have to load it down here and pile it up with all this other shit. And I hate to say that, but once you get our age, everything's a nuisance.
It's not that, and it's funny because I thought I was doing a pretty good job, and that's what I said. I will enjoy the Christmas process.
Yes.
I just I have grown past the concept of I'm going to buy you something, you're going to buy me something, we're both going to buy this person something, and we're all going to shift presents around. And it's like, why? Why didn't we just get together and hang out and do something?
Yes.
The experience is way better than the gift most of the time.
Yes. Let's all go to wrestling.
Yeah, could be the truth. But, well, anyway, next week's the big Christmas show, right?
Yes.
Because, it'll be the last one we record before Christmas. So maybe we'll give some gifts out next week because, I told you don't get me anything, right? So I was like, maybe we'll give out the gifts next week. So anyway, that's all I got, brother. Anything else?
This has been the Cranky Old Man's Wrestling Podcast.
That's right, man.
Have you had your fiber today?
I have every day.
Okay.
So anything else, brother?
No, I'm good, man.
All right, man. We'll see old saying, brother. If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.